Hey guys, welcome back to my channel once again. Kenroy here, and today of course I'm joined by Sophia once again, and today we'll be discussing a topic which we wanted to talk about for so long, and that is how we were able to buy our first home. Many people who we know and we've spoken to, have been really proud of us for what we've achieved, and we know that there are many others that are trying to do exactly the same thing, and we wanted to just share our experience and how we actually found it, the process of buying our first home. And so today we'll be going through around 6 points as some of the things that we had to go through, some of the obstacles, in terms of planning and how we got to where we are right now.
Thank you so much for returning to our channel. We are so grateful for your love, support, the comments. Thank you, and just keep them coming. And if this is your first time visiting our channel, I thank you so much. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share and comment down below. We really appreciate all the love and support. Thank you.
Okay guys, so in order for us to talk about how we got to where we are now in owning our first property and currently looking to see how we can invest in getting a second investment property, we have to go way back, and I'm talking about back to the beginning. So the first question that we're going to tackle is, how did we meet? How did it all begin? I'm going to pass the ball over to Sophia here.
I was very interested to find out your version of the story. Come on, Kenroy, tell us, how did we meet?
So we met, it was a nice sunny afternoon. Okay, maybe not. This is why I think you should tell the story, because I know that I'm going to be putting in some stuff in there that didn't happen, if I'm being honest. So how did we meet?
So I know we met at church for the first time.
Yeah.
This is way back. Should we tell exactly when it was?
I don't want to say my age. If you want to share your age, you can. It's entirely up to you.
Well, that's a woman's secret. No, we met at church. It was the summer of 2006.
Wow.
We knew each other for quite some time at church, just the casual, hi Kenroy, hi Sapphire. We were in the same Sabbath school class. We're Seventh-day Adventists. So we met at church. I have a very close friend who sort of introduced us, but I thought that she was your girlfriend at the time.
Well, that's not true.
So after many moons, I finally got invited for Sabbath lunch, and for those of you who are Adventists, you know how big Sabbath lunches are, and I got invited to his mum's house, and my friend was there as well with everyone else. It was just amazing. So I wanted to just make sure that I wouldn't be invading or, taking away somebody's man, because I kind of did like him.
See, this is why it's good for you to tell this story, because I was just innocent. I was just trying to be a good, kind-hearted Christian young man.
He had cane rows back then.
Well, it's a bit hard to tell now.
No, so I can vividly remember we were walking down this path, and Kenroy was ahead of us with his cousin, and I was there with my friend, and I just was like, well, I better be brave. It's now or never, because I just don't know. Are they going out? Are they not? And I was like, are you and Kenroy going out? And she bursted out in the biggest laugh. I remember Kenroy turned around, looked back at us.
I don't remember any of this.
We were both so embarrassed. So I was like, and she was like, Seth, no, he's like my brother. I was like, oh, that's good to know, or something like that.
No. That's where it all began.
That's where it started. And then from, I think after we had like a social activity thing, we used to do loads of social activities and just hanging out after Sabbath in the evenings.
So is it safe to say that when we started as just friends?
Yeah, we
a lot of the same
friends. Social
groups, going out on trips together and youth retreats and all of that great stuff. So suffice to say that the relationship was going really well. We were both young, still going through our education process. If I was going off to university, and we thought that we were living the dream. Now this leads me into the next question, is what was our dream at that point in our life? We were still young, dating. What was our dream and aspirations? And again, I'm going to throw this over to you, because I'm so curious to know what was your thought then. And I'm going to share what mine was as well, because being 17, 18, 19, our dreams and our goals are different than what they are now. So do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
So is it since we've married or
No,
before we got married? Oh, so should I tell you what my dream was?
Yeah, go for it.
So I was going to be a budding solicitor.
Okay.
We're going to get married.
Mhm.
We're going to own our own home, but we were going to go on tons of holidays, and we were going to go
Loads.
on a cruise for my honeymoon.
Wow.
Yes, we did say we wanted to have children. We did say we wanted to have 3 children, but the only thing is, I don't think I really planned the children in the whole holidays and all these excursions that I wanted to go on as well. So yeah, in a snippet, that was sort of my dream.
I mean, I'm trying to remember what we were like back then. All I remember was that.
Oh, and I wanted a designer bag as well.
Oh, what girl doesn't want a designer bag? All I can remember of being sort of like 17, 18, 19, was I wanted to get married eventually. Kids, yeah, have some kids, but I always wanted to own my own home. That was always a dream that, parents sort of instilled, that you should always try your best to own your own property, to have that security that, no matter what happened, you have a roof over your head. So for me, that was definitely the case. Yes, of course, I wanted to travel like anybody else, but perhaps that wasn't top of the list for me. But definitely, I wanted to get married, and this young lady came along, so that was going to be the person that I got married to, eventually anyway.
So no, that is so true. Ever since I've known Kenroy, I've known him as wanting to own his own home, to, put his stamp on that place. I don't think that was like my main priority back then.
It wasn't. Even when we were buying this place.
Yeah, no, but you were always like looking at properties. He had all the property apps from way, way back. I was just like, it was just never.
Just a house somewhere.
Yeah, just
a roof over your head, under a tree.
Well, a tree house.
No, but absolutely. But I do believe that, owning your own home is just one of the biggest things that you'll ever do in life. It's one of the most expensive, that's for sure. And when you're thinking about having a family, having that stability, there's just something about having your own home that just, is second to none. So yeah, it was definitely, and getting married, being the husband, looking into properties, that was always my thing. So it never really bothered me that you weren't as keen, because one thing, you always have been very supportive, which just made it work really well, I think. So
what would you say was the main sort of influence or drive for you as such a young person, to have your mind set on, I want to own a home?
The main driver behind that, and the main influence from that, was my mom, my parents. It was always their dream for us to, grow up, have a good job, buy a house, get married, have children, in whatever, order. I know things didn't go according to plan, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, that's always been the drive, because, coming from Jamaica, where we're from, not having much, we were never rich by any stretch. We struggled at times, let's just be real. It's always that ambition to achieve, and one of the main ways in society, not just here in the UK but all over the world, one of the main ways that you show that you've achieved something is by acquiring things. And one of the biggest acquisition is normally a house. And it, like I said, it provides the protection, the stability, and just that comfort that you don't really get from other places. So that was the huge factor behind it, I think. Okay guys, moving on to the next question, and that is, how did we actually save for a deposit? How did we save enough money to buy a house? Because houses aren't cheap, guys, and the reality is that it takes a lot of hard work and saving in order to make that dream a reality. So I'll start by saying that we realized pretty early on, after getting married on that tropical island.
Back to Jamaica.
Oh, I missed that place. After getting married, being very young still, we got married at 24. Yeah. You can ask me about that.
Inside joke there.
You can ask me about that later on. We got married at 24, which is fairly young these days, in terms of getting married. And we realized that we had 2 options. Now the first option was to go and rent, like most people do. You know, you're newlyweds and you want to have that time together, the bonding, just want to have that freedom to be yourselves. Or you could potentially live with a family member to try and see if you can maximize the amount of money that you'll save in order to then buy your first home. So essentially, the first house you move in outside of your parents' home will be your own. And you know, those are the two options on the table. Now, knowing me,
I was just gonna say it was like it was a no-brainer. I don't actually thought, did we actually discuss it very much? I don't think so. Like,
I'm sure we did.
we must have. It's quite a while ago, isn't
Yeah.
it? But it
We
just
must
feels
have.
like it was just a natural progression to the
Yeah.
decision that we made. Like, I didn't feel hard done by it. Like, oh, I was so eager to move out. Oh yes, I lived at home during university, so maybe that was why.
Yeah,
It's quite easy.
probably.
Like, I'm a home girl.
Yeah, but for me now, oh, it was terrible. It wasn't. Yeah, but it was strange because then we were thinking about where we're gonna live, you know, who we're gonna live with, and obviously our parents would be the most ideal candidates. Now I've got younger brothers and sisters, so there was limited space at my parents' house. However, you know, your mom had a house where she lived and there was a spare room there which was already yours. So I just thought, you know, I'll just mosey on over and take over the gaff as I do.
you did.
So yeah, we decided that would be the most economical way for us to save as quickly as possible, really.
And my mum was so glad to have us as well.
Yeah, she's shout out to you, Mom. You're the best.
All the love and support in the world for us. Thanks, Mum. So, Kenra, what was it like living at home with me, my mum? He doesn't mean this, by the way, surely.
No. Do you think your mom watches these?
Oh, she comments every week. She's so eager.
What was it like? Now, we speak to a lot of people, a lot of young people, and one of the reasons why we're sharing this is because there's a lot of youngsters who have all of their dreams and aspirations, and you know, fair play to you, and you're thinking about how are you going to achieve this. You know, you're fresh out of university with your partner, you're both working, you're going to rent and you're going to save and buy a house. And we often say to people that, listen, that's all well and good. Perhaps you're on a very high salary and economically it will be fine, a couple of years and you'll be good to go. But if you're not earning tons of money and you want to, you know, save and earn as quick as possible in order to buy that property, this option of living with the in-laws is by far, in my opinion, the best way to do that. And like you said, it's all good living with your own mom, perhaps. Well, maybe not for everyone. Some people find it difficult to live with their parents once they become adult. But our lifestyle was something that, you know, we could, which allowed us to coexist with your mom's lifestyle, and we really never clashed. Of course, there'll be periods when things might not be as smooth sailing, but all families are like that.
Yeah.
And for me personally, I was taken in with open arms.
Loved more than me.
Well, you know, it goes without saying, but you know, your mom was fantastic, and she literally just sort of stepped aside a lot of the times and just let us have.
Felt like our own place.
It
really.
did feel like our own place, and so I felt like I was comfortable there. And I think the thing to say is that we knew that it was only for a period of time.
Yes, it was only meant to be a year. So, Mom, we're getting married. We're just going to spend 1 year. We'll be saving up to move out.
How many was it by the time we moved out?
6 years?
6? No, it couldn't have
Was
been
it
6.
6 years?
Well, let's not talk about that. But you know, it took us longer than we had anticipated, but there was a reason behind that, and we'll probably talk about that in a bit. So for me personally, it was great. I was king of the castle, really, so it was nice. So one of the biggest advantages to living with a family member is that you can save so much money, especially if from the outset you kind of identify, you know, each person, each individual's role within that household. Like, we knew that we were never going to be paying for rent, but obviously we were going to contribute towards the bills, whether it's the gas, the council tax, or contribute towards the rent, you know, the food shopping.
Yeah.
All of these things need to be taken into consideration. So my top tip for you guys is don't try to live for free, especially if you know, your parents might be struggling or your loved one might be struggling a bit, help out as much as you can. I mean, if they turn around and then say, it's okay, we've got this, just save your money and hurry up and get out, then that's fine. But, you know, contribute, guys, because the reality is that if you were out there renting, we lived in London, and to rent even a studio apartment was just so astronomical. So the money that we were saving, even though we were still contributing a fair amount to all the bills, it allowed us to save so much more. So I definitely think that this is something that you should consider if you're a young person out there, you know, whether you're with a partner, you know, don't necessarily think about rushing to move out together. You'll have the rest of your life to do that, trust me. And, you know, at the end of the day, if your goal is to save and to buy a property and to move forward, maybe to get married and so on, it's always good for you to think about how are you going to be able to afford that. So I think at this point we'll go right into setbacks, because we're not going to sit here and talk about this as if it was all smooth sailing. We're only meant to be there for a year or two. Sophia thought a year, but I thought maybe a couple of years at least to save up enough. But as you said, around 5 to 6 years went by, and that's because of some setbacks that we had. I don't know, you want to talk a little bit about them, as I'm sure you probably remember more than me.
Yeah, well, it's quite very personal to yourself. We were both working, had finished university, as Kenroy said, married, enjoying the perks of life. Not yet been on holiday, which we were waiting to do. And yeah, a decision that was made completely with us outside of it, totally transformed our lives.
As I mentioned before, I'm originally from Jamaica, so I know you may think that I'm from the UK, but despite the accent, I'm actually not from the UK. Came here when I was 12, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, went through school, did all the things that a normal British kid would do, but I wasn't British. You know, I still had a visa in my passport, and as such, it meant that I was limited to the things that I could do. And one of the things which really affected us after we got married is that after trying to renew my visa here in the UK along with the rest of my family, for some reason, you know, my mom, 2 brothers and I, we made our application, and for some reason only my application got turned down by the Home Office for some strange reason. Now honestly, until this day, I don't know what was going on. My mom was granted, along with my 2 brothers, an extension on their visas. But
and this was just after we got married as well.
Yeah.
So
and it's quite ironic, because if anyone was in a better stead to actually be granted it, you'd think it would have been myself, but for whatever reason that happened. So this setback meant that I had to resign from my place of work. There'll be no income for how many years? At least a year, would you say?
I think it was just about a year.
Yeah, about a year. I was not able to work. At that time I was working for Asda, trying to work my way up into the management role. Things were going well. So while we thought that we were going to be staying with the in-laws for just a year or two, I actually lost my job, which meant that we had to almost start from scratch with new visa applications, which cost an absolute fortune. You know, that wasn't penciled in. I wasn't able to work as well. So that was the thing that really shook us up in terms of our journey, in terms of saving for our first property. And it was really tough.
It was really tough. Yeah, no, it really has been a journey. And when I think of it, that was just the start.
Yeah.
For us, you know, strong believers, and I know that had it not been for the mercies and goodness of God, we wouldn't be where we are today. So we have to say thank you, Jesus, for seeing us through, honestly.
Yeah. Because what happened next?
Yeah, what happened next is so just before, well, thank God he got granted, he's still here. I then wasn't feeling quite normal, and was thinking, I wonder if this is what pregnancy feels like. Mind you, we're at my mum's. Took a pregnancy test.
But we were supposed to buy the house first, so
I was supposed to be a solicitor.
Then on the holidays before the children come along. Life.
Yeah. So
who came along?
The same week that Kenroy heard back from the Home Office and was granted further limited leave to remain, we also found out that I was pregnant.
Yay!
Amen. Fist bump.
So that was a huge spanner in the works.
Yeah.
We now weren't only thinking about ourselves, but now thinking about a dependent. And what an amazing, amazing news that was as well.
No regrets, guys. Absolutely no regrets.
No.
Maybe sometimes. No, but yeah, Naomi came
you just
along.
have to roll with the punches.
Yeah, and we thought to ourselves, okay, we now have an additional person in the house, you know, already limited space.
We had exhausted quite a bit of our savings because Kenroe
Yeah.
wasn't working.
Absolutely, I think exhaust quite a bit is putting it very nicely. Yeah, we did spend a lot of money, and now we had to plan for a baby as well. But that wasn't the worst part.
Oh yes, there's more. It's until we started talking I've now remembered. I had to have time off work because I have had a slip disc. I think the stress of everything
Yeah.
and how close it was to my current job that I was doing, the situation that we were going through, it really affected me health-wise. So I was off work sick for a period of time. This also affected me applying for the promotion at work. I was on a fixed term contract. But again, God providing. My last week of work was my 25th week of pregnancy, which meant that the company had to pay me my maternity pay for 39 weeks. So even though, I was now gonna have a baby, my husband only had just, been granted the leave to remain, and I had no job to return to after having Naomi.
And for a young couple, it was tough, but I think I go back to the whole point of saying that having that family support, living at home with mom, I think we underestimate
Thank you, Mom.
how amazing that was, because during all of that we were going through, we didn't have to think about sort of paying rent and all of the other bills that you would normally have to pay. Mom was able to help us and chip in, and
all your family members as well, and
Absolutely.
our church, our wider church family, all our friends, everyone.
network.
Honestly,
it's a big deal. And so fast forward years later, Naomi came along. I started working again. Sophia was able to take even a year off with Naomi, which was nice, to get to bond. It was our first child, so that was amazing. And
we didn't feel like we lacked anything as well.
No, I think you're absolutely right. We had everything we needed, but through all of this, and I think I want to stress this point, is that we never wasted money. We never, wasted our time. Where we didn't need anything, we tried our best, mostly with my prompting, to not overspend, because we recognize that money can just go in such a quick fashion that we had to make sure we save. We buy used stuff where possible. We reused things, whether it was donations and gifts from friends and family with baby clothes. We didn't turn our noses down on anything. We recognized that we had a dream, we had a goal, and though we had some obstacles in the way and some setbacks, big ones, we still continue to persevere. And with God's help, here we are today, sitting down laughing about it, but it wasn't funny at the time when we were going through it. So I say this to encourage you guys that whatever you're going through, stay positive. If you're a believer, if you believe and trust in God, you know that He's always a go-to for you. And don't give up on your dreams even when you have setbacks, and definitely live within your means, guys, because that could really make or break you. Okay guys, we're going to end the video here today. Now this is only part 1, and we'll be doing a second part because there's just so much that we can share, and there's just so much that has happened. And I hope that this would have been of some benefit to you. And after talking through all that we've been through, it's really a testament to how difficult life can be sometimes. But through it all, if you stay focused, if you've got a belief and a drive and a determination, you can actually come out on the other side in a right frame of mind, not completely insane despite all of the challenges. But I hope that what Sophia and I are sharing with you today will encourage you that if whatever stage you're at, you can actually make some more informed decisions, and hopefully you'll be able to achieve those goals. Now, like I said, there's so much more that we are planning on sharing, and I really hope that you would have taken something from this. So stay tuned for part 2, guys, because we're going to be delving into some more points as after we made the move, how things are sort of panned out, and also what we're actually looking forward to do in the near future. So stick around for that video. And as always, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please don't forget to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button, guys. We really appreciate it. And if you do enjoy this content, don't be afraid to drop us a comment, and of course share it with your friends.
As always, this is Sapphire and Kenroy saying we'll see you in part 2.
Take care, guys.